92,000. That is the number General Motors is now asking for a fully loaded Denali Ultimate, $92,000 for a pickup truck. Sit with that number for a second, because it should feel absurd. And if it doesn't feel absurd to you yet, stay with me for the next few minutes, because by the end of this you are going to look at every truck lot in your town completely differently. Drive past any dealership this week. Look at the rows. Count how many of those trucks have dust building up on the windshield. Count how many have a sticker that has been marked down twice already. The salespeople are not just quiet anymore. They are worried, because those trucks are not decorations, they are debt. Every single day one of those pickups sits on that lot unsold. The dealer is paying interest on it. That is not a rumor. That is how floor plan financing works, and right now it is bleeding dealers dry from coast to coast. Here is the part almost nobody explains to you before you sign. The truck you are about to finance for 6 or 7 years will lose almost a third of its value before your first oil change is even due. The engine sitting under that hood right now, built in the last 18 months, may not survive to see 6 figures on the odometer. And the people who actually put a truck to work every single day, the framers, the fencing crews, the guys hauling cattle at 5 in the morning, they have already walked. They are done playing this game. The only people still lined up for new trucks are the ones who have not yet done the math. I have spent more than 20 years with my hands inside engines from every single manufacturer that sells a pickup in this country. I have watched recalls come and go. I have watched marketing departments spin disasters into enhancements. What is happening across the truck market in 2026 is not just another rough patch. This is the moment the entire business model finally cracked open, and almost nobody is talking about it honestly. 3 questions, and every one of them should make you uncomfortable. Why did the price of an ordinary work truck roughly double in under a decade? Why are dealer lots sitting on inventory levels that would have caused a company-wide panic just 5 years ago? And why quietly, without a press conference, are the biggest names in the industry pulling engines back into service bays that they promised you were bulletproof? If you already own a truck, or you are about to sign paperwork on one this month, do not click away from this. This might be the single most expensive piece of information you consume all year, and I mean that literally. Because it could be the difference between walking away with your money intact or getting trapped in a 7-year loan on a truck that dies at year 4. Let's start where the illusion begins. And that is the price tag. Back in 2018, a fully equipped F-150 Lariat ran close to $48,000. That same trim level today, according to Kelley Blue Book and Cox Automotive tracking, now regularly clears $68,000. Same factory, same assembly line workers, same basic architecture underneath. $20,000 more for what exactly? A bigger touchscreen, a heated wheel, software subscriptions you never asked for. That is the entire justification for the jump. Meanwhile, the frame is essentially unchanged. The bed material has not evolved, and in some cases the block itself moved from cast iron to lighter aluminum. A change that lowers manufacturing cost for them, while doing nothing to lower the price for you. Now multiply that pattern across every single brand on the lot. According to the most recent Cox Automotive Kelley Blue Book tracking, the average transaction price for a full-size pickup truck nationally now sits above $66,000, and that is the blended average across every trim, not the top end. Push into luxury territory, and the average transaction price for a high-end full-size pickup has been running between $92,000 and nearly $100,000 depending on the month. These are pickup trucks. They were never supposed to require a mortgage-sized commitment. Zoom out to the industry as a whole, and the picture gets even more uncomfortable. The average transaction price across all new vehicles sold in the United States has been sitting close to $49,000 for months now, and pickups along with mid-size subs are the single biggest reason that number keeps climbing. Manufacturers openly admit it. Their own analysts have said publicly that a richer mix of trucks and larger subs is what keeps pulling the industry average upward, even while smaller. More affordable vehicles keep disappearing from the lineup entirely. They are not hiding this strategy. They are proud of it. The financing side is just as brutal. Average loan terms have stretched out to 72 months as the new normal, with some lenders now pushing 84-month terms just to make the monthly payment look survivable. Do the arithmetic. 7 years of payments on a machine that, if it is one of the affected engines we are about to discuss, may not even make it to its own warranty expiration without a major internal failure. So who is actually buying these trucks? That is the question I keep coming back to, because in my shop, the working guys, the ones who load lumber every Monday and tow a flatbed trailer every weekend, they are not on these lots anymore. They found a used Tundra with 200,000 miles on it, paid cash, and walked away from the new truck market entirely years ago. They saw this coming before the spreadsheets caught up to the rest of us. The buyers left chasing that $92,000 sticker are mostly people who use the bed twice a year to haul mulch. The industry built an entire pricing structure around that customer. And now even that customer is starting to hesitate, because the depreciation curve on these trucks has become genuinely brutal. A new full-size pickup can lose close to a third of its value inside the first year alone. On an $80,000 truck, that is roughly $24,000 gone before you have made your 12th payment. By year 3, that same truck might be worth somewhere in the low 40s. While the remaining loan balance can still sit well above $60,000, that gap has a name. The industry calls it negative equity. I call it a trap. Because the only way out of that trap is writing a check for the difference, just to get out of your own driveway. Now let's go under the hood, because this is where the real story lives, and where almost nobody is giving you the depth you actually need. I do not say this lightly after 2 decades in this trade. The engines coming out of major truck manufacturers right now are, on average, the least dependable I have seen in my career. This is not a hot take for engagement. This is what shows up on my lift every single week. Start with Ford's turbocharged EcoBoost V6 lineup. The cam phasers in certain model years have a documented pattern of premature wear, and once that wear sets in, cold starts become unpredictable and rough. Ford issued service bulletins addressing the symptom without fully addressing the underlying cause, and more than one owner has been told the issue traces back to oil viscosity or maintenance habits rather than a design limitation. By the time a truck crosses 80,000 miles, repair estimates on this specific failure routinely start north of $4,000. Then there is General Motors' 6.2-liter L87 V8, the engine under the hood of the Silverado, the Sierra, the Tahoe, the Yukon, and the Escalade. GM's own recall, filed with federal regulators in April of 2025, covers close to 600,000 vehicles built between March 2021 and May 2024. The root defect traces back to manufacturing tolerances in the connecting rods and crankshaft, problems severe enough to cause complete engine seizure without warning, including at highway speed. Here is the part almost nobody covers in enough depth, and it is the part that should worry you most if you already own one of these trucks. The remedy GM rolled out was not a universal engine replacement. It was a 2-path fix. Dealers inspect the engine, and depending on what they find, the vehicle either gets a full replacement or simply receives a switch from the original 0W20 oil to a thicker 0W40 synthetic blend, along with an updated oil cap. That thicker oil fix was pitched as the safe outcome. It was not. In January of 2026, federal safety regulators formally opened Recall Query RQ26001, a direct investigation into whether that remedy actually works. The trigger was 36 separate owner complaints describing engines that catastrophically failed after already receiving the inspection and the oil fix. Some of those failures happened within a few thousand miles of the so-called repair. Some involved brand new replacement engines failing shortly after installation. GM later confirmed to industry outlets that not every replacement engine going into these trucks is actually new from the factory. A portion of them are remanufactured units, rebuilt to GM specification but not freshly produced, which raises an uncomfortable question about how many recalled trucks are effectively getting a like-new promise fulfilled with a rebuilt part. And this did not stop with the 2021 through 2024 model years. Field reports throughout early 2026, including a documented case of a 2026 GMC Sierra failing at barely 6,000 miles, show the same lifter and valve train vulnerability persisting in trucks that were supposed to be built after the fix was already baked into production. GM issued a fresh service bulletin in February of 2026, targeting a top-end mechanical symptom traced to debris contamination in the valve lash adjusters, essentially confirming that the underlying architecture is still sensitive to the same failure mode. Class action litigation tied to this engine is actively moving through the courts, with filings pointing not just to the mechanical failures themselves but to the collapse in resale value for vehicles like the Escalade, where buyers paid a luxury premium for an engine the manufacturer already knew carried risk. Now consider Stellantis and the newer Hurricane Inline 6, the engine that replaced the long-running Hemi V8 across much of the Ram lineup. It is still early in this engine's service life. But oil leak complaints and powertrain issues are already stacking up across owner forums, and there simply has not been enough time on the road to establish a real long-term reliability record. If you buy one today, you are not benefiting from years of proven durability data. You are generating that data yourself, in real time, with your own money on the line. And then there is Toyota, a brand that spent decades building its entire identity on the idea that its trucks simply do not break. The twin-turbo V6 in the redesigned Tundra has not lived up to that reputation. Contamination introduced during the engine block casting process led Toyota to recall well over 100,000 units. What deserves far more attention than it has received is what happened after that recall. Owners who already received a replacement engine under the original fix have continued to report the exact same underlying symptoms. That is not a resolved defect, that is the same defect, reappearing in supposedly corrected vehicles, and it has not received anywhere near the same level of public acknowledgement as the GM situation, even though the pattern looks disturbingly similar. Every one of these manufacturers is charging record prices for trucks built around engines, with either a documented history of premature failure or simply no meaningful track record at all. And when something breaks, the initial response from the manufacturer is very rarely a full admission of fault. It is a service bulletin, a thicker oil recommendation, or a quiet note blaming maintenance habits. Let me bring this back together for a moment because there is a lot on the table. Full-size trucks now regularly cross the $60,000 to $90,000 range. Some of the most common engines on the market carry documented failure patterns well inside their own warranty windows. Depreciation is erasing a third of the purchase price before the first anniversary of ownership. And dealer lots are struggling to move the inventory they already have. That last piece is where this story turns genuinely dangerous for the industry itself. Days of unsold inventory on many lots has been running well above the historical norm, with national averages for new vehicle supply climbing into the 70s and even touching the mid-90s during slower stretches earlier this year. Every single day a truck sits unsold. The dealer is paying floor plan interest on it, bleeding real money with nothing coming in to offset it. That pressure eventually has to go somewhere, and right now it is going into incentives. Industry-wide incentive spending has been climbing toward roughly 7% of the average transaction price, the highest sustained level in recent memory, which tells you the demand simply is not showing up organically anymore. Manufacturers are having to pay people to want these trucks. Here is something worth sitting with for a second. The entire pricing strategy of the last several years was built on a bet. The bet was that buyers would keep absorbing price increases without pushing back, that brand loyalty and identity would outweigh basic arithmetic. For a few years, roughly 2020 through 2023, that bet paid off. Buyers barely blinked, but wages did not double alongside truck prices. Interest rates climbed instead of falling, and eventually the calculator everyone carries in their pocket caught up with the number on the window sticker. Now the fallout is showing up in places that should alarm anyone paying attention. Repossession activity on pickups has been climbing at auction, and wholesale channels have been seeing late model trucks come through in numbers reminiscent of the worst stretches of the last financial downturn. That means real people, working people, signed for trucks they ultimately could not sustain, and the vehicle that was approved for them anyway is now moving through auction lanes for a fraction of what is still owed on it. If you financed a new truck in the last 2 years, I want you to actually sit with your own numbers for a moment instead of looking away from them. There is a real chance the loan balance you are carrying is already higher than what the truck could sell for today. There is a real chance the engine under your hood is one of the models we just walked through, and that the factory warranty runs out right around the mileage where these failures tend to start showing up. Your options from here are limited, and none of them are comfortable. You keep paying and hope the engine holds. You sell now and absorb the gap between what you owe and what it is worth. Or you gamble on a warranty extension and pray you never need to use it. None of those outcomes happen by accident. They were the predictable result of an industry that understood exactly what it was selling and priced it aggressively anyway. I want to hear directly from you on this, because the comment section under videos like this is genuinely how I decide what to dig into next. If you are driving one of these engines right now, Tell me which one, and tell me the mileage it was at when you first noticed something felt off. I read every single comment thread, and the patterns in those threads have already pointed me towards stories most people in this industry are not covering yet. And if the information in this video has been useful to you, if it has changed how you are going to walk into a dealership next time, do something simple. Follow along so the next breakdown of this market actually reaches you. Because the next piece I am putting together looks specifically at which used trucks from the last 15 years are genuinely safe bets right now, engine by engine. And it could realistically save a buyer $20,000 or more compared to walking onto a new truck lot today. Because here is where this all lands. The era of the $80,000 and $90,000 pickup is not ending because any manufacturer decided to slow down voluntarily. It is ending because the buyers who kept that machine running for the last several years have finally stopped showing up in the numbers manufacturers need to sustain it. If you are actively shopping for a truck right now, walk off the lot. Just walk away. The incentive that supposedly does not exist today will exist next quarter, and it will be larger than what is being offered right now. The truck sitting on that lot for $90,000 today is very likely going to carry a smaller number by spring, and the engine inside it still will not be worth what they are asking you to pay for it. The people who figured this out years ago are still driving trucks built well over a decade ago, paid for in full, with no loan hanging over their heads and no anxiety every time a noise shows up on a cold morning. The rest of the market is now finding out the exact same lesson, just on a much more expensive and much more painful timeline.